The Soft Animal of Your Body by CheatsatUNO. Chapter 5. Announcing Your Place. Harry stops in front of a door, half faded into the wall. It's an old, unused classroom. Harry can't even remember having gone to it before the battle, and the resulting rebuilding of Hogwarts had blocked off a number of wings. But the Marauders map says that Draco is behind this door. Harry doesn't know what he was thinking, asking Pansy that question. It was stupid. Harry has spent 2 weeks watching Draco get antsy whenever he, or anyone else, brought up human Draco. But he wants Draco to know that his friends want him back. He wants Draco to know that Harry isn't the only one feeling his absence. Well, look how that backfired. Harry frowns to himself. He's still on edge from that argument in the library. He'd admittedly gotten a lot more worked up than he'd wanted. Turns out venting to the ferret version of the guy you may or may not have a crush on doesn't help as much as he hoped. And Pansy's harsh "trouble in paradise" as Draco disappeared hadn't helped bring him down from the anger. Harry takes a breath to calm himself again, instructions from some pamphlet Hermione had given him coming to mind, and opens the door. He's met with a mostly empty room, except the floor has a maze of small tunnels running across it, and there are a few piles of blankets and throw pillows dotted around. Something that looks like a cat tree, only about 2 feet high, is pushed up against the back wall. Harry doesn't even know what class would have met in here. The room is not large, much smaller than most classrooms, but it's perfect for a ferret in hiding. Said ferret is curled up at the top of the cat tree, back facing the door, but Harry has no doubts that Draco knows he's here. "So is this where you hung out before you moved in with me?" He tries to joke, but he can tell it lands flat when the small bundle of white fur doesn't stir. Harry makes to cross the room, but as he gets closer, Draco jumps to his feet and hisses at him. Harry stops immediately. "I'm sorry," is all he says. Harry still stands by his decision to keep Draco in the dark about him knowing about his animagus status. He doubts Draco would have stayed by his side if he'd known that Harry knew. But boy, did it make it explaining things difficult. How do you apologize for pushing someone too far when they didn't know you were trying to push them? And seeing Draco's reaction to earlier, Harry is terrified that Draco will disappear for good if he pushes any harder. But he has to. He wants the real Draco back. He wants the chance to really get to know Draco and become his friend. Maybe that's selfish, but Harry thinks he deserves to be selfish sometimes. "Will you come back with me?" Harry's voice is quiet in the room. Draco stands stiffly on his cat tree, staring. It feels like an hour has passed before Draco slowly climbs down from his spot and inches closer. He stands in front of Harry's shoes, glaring up at Harry. Harry feels himself start to smile. Is that a yes? In answer, Draco starts biting at the hem of Harry's trousers, tugging. Something light bubbles up in Harry. Draco is soon returned to his preferred place on Harry's shoulder. "I think you're upsetting him," Ron snickers. Harry glares at his best friend, trying hard to ignore him and the screeching noises coming from Draco. Luna tilts her head sympathetically, hand still held out and cupped to receive the Slytherin. However, said Slytherin is currently clinging to the sleeve of Harry's robe, ripping holes into the fabric. "Come on, you like Luna. What's the big deal?" Harry groans, gently shaking his arm and getting frustrated with Draco's stubbornness. As a human, Draco wants nothing to do with him, but when he's a furry menace, he doesn't want to let go. Usually, Harry is happy to indulge Draco, and who is he kidding? Himself too, and keep him close. But Harry has a meeting with McGonagall in 20 minutes. The last class of the day has ended, and thankfully it was in the same corridor as Luna's last class. Since he planned to talk exclusively about Draco to the headmistress, the blonde could absolutely not be there. The easy solution is to let Luna take Draco until dinner. What isn't easy is Ron being no help off to the left while Draco acts like a prick. Harry takes a deep breath, erasing the annoyance from his face and voice as he prepares to embarrass himself. "Hey now, sweetheart, don't be like that. Won't you be good for me?" If he's going to do this, might as well go all in. He presses a few kisses to Draco's head, who has at this point frozen completely. It's easy to get caught up in caring for Draco, calling him sweet names and placing swift kisses to his head without a second thought. Harry has his chance to overthink those moments when the realization finally hits in the few moments he gets alone. He argues that it's just momentary lapses in judgment, forgetting that the spirited ferret in his hands isn't just a pet. He's always been affectionate with animals. He conveniently ignores the fact that he never treated Hedwig like this. Harry only started purposely calling Draco stupid endearments when he realised how flustered and bothered Draco got. Other than a few slip-ups, he only really talked like this when he was teasing the blonde. Harry imagines that the incensed, embarrassed expression on Draco's human face would be hilarious. A passing thought of kissing a human Draco burns his cheeks hotter and makes him pause, muddying the water of his mind even further. Thankfully, Draco uses that moment to practically leap into Luna's waiting hands, almost slipping if not for the Ravenclaw's surprising reflexes. "I've got you," she whispers to a ferret that is doing its best to burrow away from Harry. She levels Harry with a look that is soft but scolding. "It's not nice to tease, Harry." Harry mumbles an apology before making a swift exit. Ron, the git, can be heard halfway down the hall, making kitty noises. Harry doesn't turn back around, but he is horribly pleased when he hears a yelp and something about no biting as he turns a corner. Harry is barely outside of McGonagall's office when he's ushered inside by the headmistress herself. They both sit on opposite sides of her desk, with a few exchanged hellos, but Harry can tell that they both want to skip to the real reason for this meeting. The potion for Mr. Malfoy has arrived. McGonagall pulls a small vial, no bigger than Harry's little finger, from one of her desk drawers, and places it in front of Harry. The liquid inside is a transparent, greyish colour, barely iridescent. Harry is tempted to be angry that this little bit of potion took so long to brew, but having failed at enough, probably simpler potions, Harry reins that feeling in. "And I just get him to drink it, or dump it on him?" "The potion should be ingested, the full amount, preferably." "So, like, drug him?" "Yes, that should be no problem. Just get Draco to drink a whole vial of mystery potions without questioning me." Harry, despite his tone, resists the urge to roll his eyes. Across from him, the headmistress pointedly raises an eyebrow and purses her lips. "I don't see why the nature of the potion needs to remain a secret, Mr. Potter." "Well, seeing as how Draco doesn't actually know that I know—" "What do you mean he doesn't know?" Both eyebrows are raised now, and McGonagall straightens in her seat. "I, never told him. He avoided me during the first term, ran at the first sight of me every time. I figured I had a better chance of keeping him close if he didn't know, so I've been pretending he's just a regular ferret. I wouldn't say I treat him like a pet. I mean, I know he's actually a person, so I still talk to him about regular things, but I guess I do baby him sometimes." He's rambling now, and at his own admission, Harry averts his eyes, taking renewed interest in the potion vial on the desk. He tries not to think about how slipping someone an unknown potion is very weird and probably illegal. He also resolutely ignores the idea of how Draco might react when he's human again, and remembers all the kisses Harry has given him. If Draco had avoided him before, Harry wouldn't be surprised if he never saw the Slytherin again after this. Or maybe Draco would yell at him. That thought oddly cheers him up. It'd be easier to be back in somewhat familiar territory. It would be a treat to see those grey eyes inflamed once again, bright and lively after having gone so dull for so long. If that's all Harry can get from Draco, he'll take it. The sharp tap of a nail on wood brings Harry's focus back to the present. The slightly shocked expression on McGonagall's face has morphed into concern, and the tapping of her fingers continues. "And how intelligent is he?" Confused, Harry doesn't answer until she repeated the question, sharper. "He's always been smart, but I don't understand." Harry stiffens as he speaks, some learned intuition telling him he won't like what he's about to hear. McGonagall sighs deeply. Her finger stops tapping and instead joins her other hand, steepling together on the desk. "That he has. However, when a witch or wizard remains in their animagus form for too long, they begin to lose their human mind. Animals are not able to think in the same way as humans. They don't have the same capacity for emotions or critical thinking as humans. Magic can help this with experienced animagi, but not even magic can stop the degradation of the mind after so long and consistent a time as an animal." The more she talks, the more horror dawns on Harry. It's been a little over a month, and Draco has been a ferret for all of it. He also doesn't think ferrets were all that smart to begin with. Harry has no real way to gauge if Draco's mind has degraded since Christmas break. And why didn't you say any of this earlier? Harry's hands clench into fists in his lap. I had no idea that this was the route you would take, McGonagall says, mouth open as if to continue, but Harry interrupts, a familiar heat in his gut rising up and burning hot. No, of course not. You were just content to let me take this problem off your hands. Why would you give me all the information I needed? Dumbledore never did. Why would you be any different? Why did you even trust that I would be able to help? You've always been the first to try and keep me out of trouble, to mind my own business. So why, this time, were you more than happy to let me be in charge of the integrity of someone else's mind? Are you quite finished, Mr. Potter? McGonagall still sits up straight, pinched expression in place, but Harry knows his words haven't left her unaffected. I thought that, out of anyone, you would be able to keep Mr. Malfoy human. I am well aware of your rather antagonistic relationship towards each other. I was hoping that would be able to keep Mr. Malfoy engaged enough to offset the time it would take for the potion to be completed. Now, how intelligent does Mr. Malfoy seem? He still understands what I'm saying. Harry's tone borders on a growl, still angry. He's still a git when he wants to be. The most I can honestly say I've noticed is that he sleeps a lot more than he did at the beginning. Harry racks his memory for anything that stands out. He can't think of anything in particular that is cause for worry, but he hadn't even been looking for symptoms of Draco losing his humanity. That burning rage roils deep in his belly. If he'd known this would be a problem, he might have done things differently, or at least kept a better eye on the situation. But no, Harry is only ever told what people think he needs to know, and it's never enough. And he still understands and responds well to speech. If Harry wasn't busy pushing down frustration at his situation, he might blush at the immediate memory of Draco's reaction to Harry's pet names earlier. Yeah, he responds shortly. McGonagall, thankfully, doesn't scold him for the attitude. Instead, she arches a neat eyebrow and nods her head to the potion vial. Harry pockets the small glass and takes the headmistress's very well as the intended dismissal. But he pauses at the door, one hand already on the knob. Harry takes a few deep breaths before turning around. McGonagall sits behind her desk, perfect posture and face blank of anything besides polite curiosity. The portraits on the wall, on the other hand, who have all been blessedly quiet through the meeting, don't have the manners to look anything less than enthusiastically intrigued. Yes, Mr. Potter? Something is wrong with me, he mutters, trying to keep eye contact even though he would rather look anywhere else. She hums, prompting him to continue. Harry takes another deep breath and decides that he's already made it this far. Sometimes I get so angry. I used to think it was because of Voldemort being in my head, or that part of his soul was inside me. But no, it still happens, and I hate it, and it makes me even angrier. As he talks, his fists clench, pressing his short nails into his palms. His gaze has finally fallen away from McGonagall, staring resolutely at the empty space on the desk in front of her. She keeps the office much neater than Dumbledore ever did. I see, McGonagall says after a suspenseful pause. The war has changed and affected many people, and you have gone through more than most. She pauses again, seeming to consider her words carefully now. Harry shifts his weight from one foot to another, keeping his observations of her in his peripheral vision. Her silence goes on too long, so Harry speaks up. I'd like to see a mind healer. Oh, yes, of course. I could help with the vetting process. It would be prudent to choose someone who specializes in your areas of concern, and we can't have someone who will blab to the nearest newspaper the first chance they get, so trustworthiness is paramount. McGonagall continues on about essential criteria when choosing a mind healer, the importance of shopping around, and the pros and cons of private practices. That burning smoulders and dies down the longer she goes on, oblivious to the fact that he has stopped listening. Thank you. She's startled at the interruption. For as hard as McGonagall tries to keep a professional detachment with her students, it would be impossible to read the blooming smile on her face as anything but fond. Of course, Harry. I can prepare some informational materials for you in the next few days. Just know that there is nothing wrong with you, but whatever it is you're going through, you aren't alone. I'm sure I'm not the only one that would be more than happy to help." Harry knows she's right. She usually is. He thinks of how silently supportive Ron and Hermione have been, even if they don't always understand what he needs. They try their best. He thinks of the other 8th years, who gather together with understanding nods and friendly words. He thinks of Draco, who, in spite of his current circumstances, has been a sorely needed light. Harry leaves the headmistress's office and heads to dinner. Draco is suspiciously subdued upon his arrival, and fear spikes through Harry's heart when Luna tells him how quiet the ferret has been since Ron intercepted some vigilante 5th years. Harry scoops Draco up from where he's curled up in some Hufflepuff scarf, cooing endearments until Draco levels him with a familiar unimpressed glare. That unmistakable light of human intelligence shines through his beady black eyes. The blatant show of Draco's personality soothes the worry that McGonagall had given him about his mind while in ferret form. After dinner, while everyone else is chatting in the common room, Harry takes Draco up to his room. He lays on his bed, Draco curled up on his stomach, while he tries to read his charms textbook. It takes a few paragraphs, none of which are absorbed or remembered, for Harry to get bored and start telling Draco about his plans for seeing a mind healer. He tells Draco about his issues with anger. He tells Draco about his year on the run with Ron and Hermione. He tells Draco about his time with the Dursleys. Draco listens to everything. And usually Harry is glad to have someone just listen. No judgment, no advice for how to fix it, no telling him that he did a great job, that he saved the day in the end. Usually Harry appreciates his ability to just vent to Draco. But tonight is different. He wants company. He wants Draco to tell him his own stories from the war and his childhood. He wants to know why Draco lied to his family about not recognizing him. He wants to know why Draco has avoided him. He wants to know all about the parts of Draco that he missed out on over the years. Harry wants to know Draco because he thinks he might really like him. He thinks, if given the chance, he could love him. But he doesn't know because Draco can't talk back. All that hatred and rivalry from before, fueled by stress and antagonism, Harry is beginning to realize was just the tarnished veneer hiding a hopefully mutual need for the other's attention. Harry realizes that, even though he should hate Draco, or at least want nothing to do with him, that for all his faults, Harry just wants the chance to be with him. But above all, he just wants Draco to find happiness, like Harry himself is working towards his own. Harry's head is swimming with disjointed thoughts and feelings. He doesn't realize he's spoken them all aloud until he sees Draco standing stock still on Harry's stomach. Harry moves his hand slowly, terrified that Draco will bolt away, but the other lets himself be dragged further up Harry's chest. The ferret lets himself be pet, though he hasn't relaxed at all. He makes no move to leave. Harry counts that as a small victory, even as he loses his battle against a particularly harsh yawn. "Night," he mumbles, rearranging Draco to a small cushion next to his own pillow, which has become the Slytherin's bed. Draco doesn't break eye contact the whole time, and if Harry wasn't so tired, he would be embarrassed about confessing his feelings. But he is tired, so for now, it's easy to ignore his pride and fall asleep. Hi, I'm sorry again for this taking so long. The next part is the last part, so I hope you look forward to that. Thank you for listening to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye.